Welcome everyone, this is Finally Beatles and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and hear LOTRO players. And this week we have with us Derry Edwin,
Hi.
Arendis,
Hey, everybody.
and Sanswinda.
Hello.
Hello there, everyone, and this week we unfortunately don't have a live show. Of course, those of you who are hearing it afterwards probably don't care about that. Because there is a problem with our server for doing our live shows. But we still have a show and it must go on, so let's begin with the game news where we have an update 24.1.1. And this is mainly, of course, fixing up quests that were released in the recent updates, fix some issues causing unintended difficulty in the Anvil of Winterstead and other areas where ranged and tactical damage was being improperly buffed. Yes, you know that when the top raiders are complaining that the new raid, that a raid is too hard, you know something's wrong. So, yeah, apparently this buff was caught making it pretty much impossible to finish it. Then, introduction Veils of Undoing. Some players were able to get stuck in a state in the quest, and if you have the quest underway and are unable to complete it, the quest should remove itself from the quest log and re-bestow. And a message from Rosgobel, this quest should now bestow in a major landmark of the Veils of Undoing when you become eligible for the quest. So at any major landmark, instead of, I presume it was originally you had to go to one specific place that was annoying to go to. You've heard of quests like that before, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so looks like they widened that out a little bit. And for Joyous Jam, they fixed an issue where the grapes will sometimes fail to show up in the tub.
I had that happen. I stomped an empty tub. It was quite funny, especially after I washed my feet.
I'm just trying to think what the situation was, because I guess I'm done enough of these grape stomping quests that I didn't bother to check to see how many grapes there were in the tub when I went to stomp in it.
Or if there were any at all.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is you're so much of a jam master that it didn't bother?
Yeah, I guess we're just there for a jam session.
Oh,
He started it.
that's true. I own that one.
Okay. Let's head into items then. Let's see. Chests of the Dernhoth raid, when run at level 65, will have a chance to drop the original level 65 rewards. These items will be fellowship tradable. All chests in Dernhoth will award personal loot and will have daily locks, allowing 10 completions per day, after which you will not be able to receive rewards. All Sternhoth when run at higher levels will continue to drop at the current scaling rewards, which are also now be fellowship tradable. And this is all because there were a number of complaints on the legendary servers about there being no real drops for the raids.
Yeah.
So hopefully this will
It's
help.
actually kind of cool though that they brought back the original level 65 rewards for this raid.
Yeah, that is good that they have done that and given an opportunity for the players then to go to get them. Because, yeah, it would be really nasty, because I have a feeling that if they were, I know, for example, the items you need in order to make the level 65 first stagers, there was no source of them available in the legendary servers, because you can't get them at the skirmish camp until you're level 70. Of course, there's nobody level 70 on the legendary servers.
Right. Oops.
Yeah, so you can't get them through the skirmish camp, and they weren't dropping at the raids originally, so hopefully this takes care of that situation. Bane Greased now offers the static +2 devastating critical chance rather than an on-use effect. Additionally, because Bangrist is designed for might, will, and agility classes, and therefore has extra main stats and mastery that will not be useful, the amount of critical rating, mastery, and vitality has been increased. Items in pending loot or packages that have a chance to gain bonus levels when taken now show a green plus sign next to the item level. Scrolls of empowerment that were once bound to character now bind on account instead. Bee cosmetic pets now fly.
Now, this is one of those things I wish we had video for of the before, because I'm very curious as to what these bees were doing, how they were moving, were they standing still? There are more questions than there are answers.
Having
and I would
seen
love
some that are basically as big as my dwarf, I'm curious too, because flying, like, you can tell their size, and they're kind of disconcerting when they're right in your face. But yeah, I that would be really interesting.
Can we go back to the previous item? Because I just had a question really quickly. Because
Okay.
obviously we all know that I don't do the Ministerial Thales for the Scrolls of Empowerment, but what I'm wondering is, if the Scrolls of Empowerment are now bound to account instead of bound to character, does that mean you have fewer than 42 days? Like, you can run your alts through and like get the equivalent of 42 days in like 10?
The Ministrith ones aren't bound at all. At least they weren't bound at all the last time I ran Ministrith Dailies, which was last week.
So you could, in theory, do Ministerial Thales with like a bunch of alts and grind those out in a handful of days instead of doing all 42 days.
Yes.
But they could be very tedious days if you have to do it.
Well, I mean, that's how dailies work. It's very tedious.
Yes, true.
That's
I just
why I
wish
don't
there
do
were
them.
more options besides the same 3 quests. Because by the time you have more alts, who all also need the scrolls, then you're pretty much back to 42 days. You just now have 42 alts who need them. So
42 more times the fun.
Yeah, well, I could just imagine Deep Thought spent 7.5 million years to come up with the answer 42, and we didn't know that the question was, how many days does it take to get your scrolls?
At least until they increase the number of scrolls you need again.
Yes. Several of the new crafted house decoration items were using incorrect housing decoration slot types. This has been fixed. If you have already placed these housing items, they will remain in place until you move them to a new decoration hook. And they also fixed some new housing decoration recipes, which were using incorrect ingredients. Okay. They also corrected a number of French and German localization bugs. Hopefully that will be helpful for those who speak those languages. And throttling has been done on custom emotes for all channels, including the user chat channels, as part of the wider effort to curb spam and harassment. Players utilizing custom emotes under most typical conditions should experience no change. In other words, people spamming emotes. Yeah, there's sometimes where I've been in an area where I see the same person doing the same emote about 50 times a minute. Hopefully that will be curbed. Anyone else have anything to add on the update?
Just if anyone knows how the bee cosmetic pets are moving before, can you please let me know, because I'm very curious.
Well, they do have 6 legs, right?
I wouldn't be surprised, but it
They
never
might
said
have
that.
been walking on their back legs, though. Or just, like, floating above the ground, but not actually flying.
Yeah,
Skidding,
there
I
are too many
guess.
questions here.
Let's then head into the LOTRO Beacon issue 116. which is being taken at the summer picnic.
Yeah. That is exactly where that was taken.
I love the background for that shot. It all looks very summery.
Well, it's a hill in the Shire. That's
Yeah.
the little eat things that you get to do at the end of the picnic skirmish.
Yeah.
Ah.
For our community spotlight, Knights of the White Lady are celebrating the Pride Month in their 12th year in LOTRO in the annual parade through Breetown. That will be on Sunday, June 30th on Langeville at 1 p.m. server time. And the elves of the bar in Vanimar invite any elf or elf friends on the Madras to attend the celebration clear to their hearts on Laurelland on Tuesday, June 25th. And Deco has updated their decorators event schedule where you can find dates for the next Housing Week contests. And you could watch Helm's Deep Epic Battles walk through with Druid's Fire with special guest Chromite. And a few players have put together some PvP suggestions and would like to have community's thoughts on them. And you could click on the beacon link to join in that discussion. And Fibro Jedi has posted a new Elven-inspired outfit. What does this look like?
It's very blue, and I like it.
Yeah,
It is very blue.
Definitely has a tinge of blue there.
Sea blue. But it's got a hat that I really love. I don't use it very often, but I really love it. It's one of the Great River rewards.
Ah.
And then the shoulder piece is Dol Amroth medium piece. It's another really awesome cosmetic. I have a loanable copy of the shoulders.
All right. That works. Then back to the rest of the beacon. Let's head into the Ken Hall. Elvelwyn is a casual, friendly kin on Langeable, which engages in light roleplay, skirmishes, instances, epic battles, roving threat hunts, and sightseeing expeditions throughout Middle-earth. And their home is on the island of Tol Falthwi in Tarazwing in Belfast housing neighborhood. For more information, please contact Valkyries by chat or mail in-game, and that is on Langeable. And as for our weekly comment, what kind of food would you expect at a Bjorning feast?
Honey cakes. Lots and lots of honey.
Well, yeah, honey. Obviously. Bears.
Yeah, lots of honey and, of course, honey cakes. I mean, what else? I mean, that's the first...
I mean, pots of honey would be kind of awesome, but that's not exactly what I expect to find.
Okay.
Like, I picture giant, massive pots of honey, like in Winnie the Pooh.
Yes.
Like one at every place. That would
Everyone
be
gets
epic.
a giant spoon.
Yeah.
Everybody gets their own pot of honey with a giant spoon.
And maybe, like, a little bit of...
And you have the one bear off in the corner who's, like, half inside his pot of honey.
And, like, plates of, like, biscuits and cornbread and other things to add to the honey for guests who aren't into just immersing themselves in the bucket of honey.
Let's head into the fan site news on Mythgard and Middle-earth continues with the guest hostess Druid's Fire. And LOTRO Players News episode 309 has this to 101 ways to die dramatically. And Adventures with Elda continues this week in Mirkwood and Adventures After Dark with Big Ed Mustafa. And you could join Red on his Saturday adventures on Even Night. and take a flight with Wayward Plane on their newest stream. And you can go to the Vales of Anduin with the Dwaro Scholar. And French Girl Gaming continues LOTRO with a French twist. You can check that out. I would presume when they say with a French twist means that the show is in French.
Probably.
So let's head into our screenshot of the week. And
Voldemort. That's the graveyard outside of Forlaw.
That's what I was thinking.
Yes. And Tokomi took this week's screenshot of the week.
It's a great shot. I love the fact that you can see the sun setting, I think.
Let's see, that will
be... It is set, yes. From that particular angle, it's got to be sunset, because it's facing west. And you can actually see the tip of an ice spire.
Oh, you can.
Just to the right of the sunset, which is great.
Yeah,
this is after you've been sent out to the graveyard by the various wives and things to lay shield and sword and whatnot on their husbands or brother-in-laws or whatever's graves.
Yeah, it has a very eerie feeling to it, and it really suits the quests that you have to do for that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's one of the more depressing funerals that you end up going to as part of the epic story. I think it's like 12 people.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
And they've all died in a fairly short span of time, so it's really, really depressing.
And that little ice spire peeking up over the top is like just rubbing it in, because seriously, you can see it even from the graves.
Yeah.
Yes. To remind you of who did it.
Yeah. But up on the hill where the palisade is, that's Forlaw. Which is the biggest city in Wildemore.
Yep. And that concludes our beacon for this week. So what is on sale?
We actually have decent sales this week.
Ooh.
Again. Because last week's sales were pretty decent too. LOTRO bonus days bring us the Summer Festival now through July 10th. Yay, Summerfest. And then 20% off now through June 27th. Select war steeds, riding skills, select mounts, movement speed buffs, and the weekly coupon gets you a morale bubble potion ×1 with coupon morale bubble now through June 27th.
Whee! Then let's head into the site news, where we have an article by Squirrel on day 260. What's in the box? Run. And that is of course talking about the featured instance, which some people refer to it as the box run, because you run the featured instance in order to get the box in there and hope you get something nice out of it.
Though, as of Friday, it still wasn't working if you run it 5 levels under you. Like, if you're running it under level. You still weren't getting the under level version of it.
Right. That's right. That was a little bit of a problem, because we were running it 5 levels under, because we had somebody in the group that...
Right, we ran it at 115 because we had a 110 and then a bunch of 120s, so we met in the middle, and none of the 120s got credit for doing the featured instance.
Ouch.
Did the 110 get credit?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember either. They were all so much talking about the 120s not getting anything that we might have forgotten to ask the 110.
We've really outnumbered the 110, so...
Yes. Yeah. But I know, you just said, glad we squished those spiders, yes.
Yes, we burned them all to a crisp and took out the webs and left triumphantly. They're totally not going to be more spiders the next time we go in there. Uh-huh.
Yep.
There was lots of fire, though, and they were all squished when we left.
Yes. So it's talking about various things. Now, the reason why it calls it day 260 is because it's been 260 days apparently since the last time that they updated the rotation.
Yeah, it hasn't been updated for a while. Which is kind of a problem because I remember when they originally implemented it, they were going to rotate them fairly frequently. And yeah, it's actually been kind of a long time since they've done an update to it. And the loot is broken. So
maybe they don't want to update it until they figure out what's happening with the loot, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's a possibility thing. But anyway, instancing itself has been an awkward spot for some time now. Ash favor loot, extended level range, random level increases, or build a class limitations. We're coming to an end of the major LOTRO overhauls for all classes, ratings, etc. It might be a good time to take a broader look at the loot. Yeah, we'll have to see about that. But that's his final thoughts on there, and you could read that further on in Squirrel's article about his thoughts about the current state of the featured instances and instances in general. So let's head into our new player question. Arendis, what's your question this week?
This week it's not so much of a question, it's more of a thing that I've kind of found helpful. Fibro Jedi has updated his guide for the summer festival, which for anyone curious, the June 20th, so it started 2 days ago from the start of the recording, and will run until July 11th at 3 a.m. server time, so the last full day is July 10th. And this is just a really helpful guide for if you're looking for any specific quest or just trying to figure out how to even get started or anything like that. I've always really enjoyed Fibro Jedi's guides, and here's another one for the summer festival. So there you go.
Right, yeah, so it's everything you need to do in order to survive the festival. Wait. And do we have what this year's steed features a firefly lantern similar to the one in cosmetics. Let's see.
Yep, all of the cosmetics and the lantern have like a general firefly kind of theme, and it looks pretty cool. He's got images towards the bottom.
Ooh. I'll just have to look into these.
And at nighttime or server time, the fireflies will actually show up in the lantern and glow just a little bit from what I can tell from the image. So that's pretty cool.
Right. Then we'll have to see that when it have a chance to get one on there, because I haven't done much in the summer festival yet. And who knows what time I'm going to get, because next weekend is going to be a real fun one, because that's Mythboots next weekend. Yeah. Let's head into our week in LOTRO. And Terry Adwin, what were you up to?
Well, not lots, but I finally got to play through some of Update 24, which was awesome. We completed all of Book 9 of the Black Book of Mordor, which is all still running around with Scarhold with the dwarves and things. Dwarves, by the way, are still awesome, and Gandalf is still a jerk. Like, he had like 15 minutes of being kind of almost sort of decent, and then you get out of that instance and yep, he's back to being a jerk.
Well, I mean, in a way, if you think about it, if you had to deal with all the stuff that Gandalf had to deal with, I don't know.
Part of that is his own fault, okay? Like, when you tell somebody, go do this, when you know that you perfectly well could do it better yourself, then don't come back and complain about the job that I just did.
Okay, well, I haven't played through the whole game yet, so I'm not gonna talk about things I clearly don't know.
And I have some issues with Gandalf anyway. I've had issues with Gandalf ever since after the Battle of Pelennor. We went out to the fields and decided to cut off the head of a fell beast to give it to the scholars in Minas Tirith.
Yeah, because what could possibly go wrong?
That happens as part of the story, and why? Why? Why would you do that? Why would you just not set fire to the whole thing? Just burn it all.
So somebody can go crazy and want to go into Mordor. Oh, wait.
Seriously. All right. Yeah, so I had basically a light week, and that's pretty much all I did. Arindis, how about you?
Well, I had a little bit of a light week as well, mostly trying to help out the elves in Mirkwood still. Not a lot happened that was very noteworthy, but they never cease to surprise with just how little they actually want to do. I think my favorite was apparently they are so helpless or so busy or something, think that I'm only useful for this particular task. They can't scout an enemy camp on the next hill over. It was literally the next hill over. I took maybe, 100 steps to the left and, there's the door. It never ceases to amaze. So that was...
You're the expendable one. So they needed you to go make sure that if somebody got close to it, they weren't going to be filled full of arrows. So they send the expendable person, and when you come back, then they know it's okay for them to go in.
Oh, yeah.
And if you don't come back, well, then they'll send the next idiot who comes by.
Just to see if it's gotten any safer yet.
Yeah, it's almost like they're like, let's see how much we can get her to do before she's like, enough! And apparently walking over the next hill is, apparently they couldn't do it themselves. So anyway, I was kind of face palming over that. So that was most of my week. Since when the hell was your...
Well, my week was actually pretty busy in LOTRO because, so this started with girls on Sunday. We got Farrar into Mordor for the first time. And Cinders and I were inspired. We got Emerlina into Mordor officially. She walked in on the girls' channel at level 40, and we ran her to Barad-dûr, which was pretty epic. But she's actually at the point in the story where she could get in too, so we got them into Mordor. And then we were looking at it and we're like, we could have more fun with this. And so, Cinders and I, on Monday, rolled brand new dwarves and ran them up to level 50 and Arya'd them. Because we're crazy. Yeah. And no regrets. And then we got the dramatic defeat emote and showed up ready to go into Mordor with Key on Farrar and have been gallivanting around Mordor and the Summer Festival with our dwarves. So that's how I know that the bee pet that now flies is about the same size as a dwarf. Just for size reference there, because I don't think any of my hobbits have been to the Summer Festival. And, but besides that, I got to go with Terry and Pineleaf to find hidden passages, and we disturbed a wizard's study in a timely fashion. Well, it wasn't technically us, but we were there when it happened. And it was pretty cool. I mean, like, all the times for him to be upset about being disturbed, that was a good time. And then, on the field trip, I got to play my Guardian, who I haven't played in ages and keep forgetting I have. And I rounded up the dead in Nandaloo, and that was fun. I totally forgot what the quest was. I was just riding in and rounding up as many as I could, and then we were killing them, and then I would do it again. And it was pretty awesome. So, that was my week. Pineleaf, how was your week?
I'll begin with my Honor Warden, where I finished up the stuff that I was doing in Morian Lothlorien. It means finishing up on the epic quest there, and I finished up the quests that are in that area. I still have 1 or 2 deeds I still need to get, because I still need to kill a few more Maravel, I still need to kill a few more wargs, those types of deeds that are
details.
Common. Yeah, yes, details on there. So I'm hoping to have all that cleared up and be able to head into Mirkwood at the beginning of July, or actually that's when I'll be posting the start of the next section. So maybe a few days before that I'll actually make my first foray into there. Now I do plan also do some picnic stuff, but right now I've just taken care of what I need on the epic storyline there, and I don't have to worry about Moria anymore for a while, except to take care of a flood deeds. Now on Crick Hollow, my warden there is continuing to quest in the Vales of Anduin and looking around and finding out what is troubling the woodmen over there. And then on Friday Night's Fight, we failed at stopping fires at Erebor, so we decided, all right, let's stop fires at the Prancing Pony instead.
That was more successful.
Yeah, they were a lot more successful stopping the fires.
It helped that when we died, we could run back in.
Well, it helped that when you died, you were right back at the point of the fight.
True.
Yeah, the fires of the flames of smog. I think that was really that really went south very, very quickly. And that's it for a week there. So news beyond LOTRO. Osmodee Digital is bringing Lord of the Rings card game to console and PC on August 8th. And when I first saw this headline, I was saying, it's still in early access? I thought they released that months ago. But I guess it's been still been in early access all this time. So it looks like it leaves early access and is officially released on August 8th. And this is Osmodee's implementation of the Lord of the Rings online living and the Lord of the Rings living card game. We currently have 18 supporters on Patreon, and if you'd like to join this illustrious array of players and help support LOTRO players, simply go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. There you'll find rewards, including a mention on the podcast of your choice, or even be guest with us for an episode of LOTRO Players News. We did not receive any emails this week, but if you'd like to send one, you can send it to podcast@LOTROplayers.com, and you can also follow us on Twitter, the Players Alliance, @PlayersAlly, LOTRO Players, @LOTRO Players, Arendis, @Arendis, PinelyFit, PinelyFeels, Sentwin, and Terry Adwin, @Terry Adwin. The LOTRO Players has 2 shows each week. We record DDO Players News at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We record LOTRO Players News at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. And if they ever fix Mixlr, then you can join us for our shows live by going to LOTROplayers.com/live. And that is all for tonight. And this is Pilot Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.